What if I told you that the confidence you're searching for is buried in your worst mistake? Yeah, sounds weird, right? Because we're all taught that confidence comes from winning, from looking perfect, getting everything right, climbing the mountain without tripping on the way up. But let's be honest, that's not how real life works. We've been sold the myth of perfect progress, that if you're talented, if you're smart, if you're meant to succeed, your path will be smooth, clean, Instagram-worthy. Spoiler alert, it won't be. Because the truth is, growth is messy. Ask any author, athlete, or entrepreneur you admire. They didn't get there because they avoided failure. They got there because they leaned into it. The myth of perfect progress. Let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at someone else's success and thought, wow, they must have just figured it out. They're built different. You scroll past their perfectly filtered highlight reel, the wins, the milestones, the woke up at 5 a.m. and journaled my way to 6 figures kind of posts, and you start believing the lie. That real progress is clean, linear, Instagrammable. But here's the truth, no one's posting in their grid. Progress is messy. Growth is chaotic. Success is a crooked line with coffee stains, canceled plans, and breakdowns at 2 a.m. We've been conditioned to worship the end result, the promotion, the glow-up, the I made it speech. But we rarely talk about the detours, the failures, the days you question everything. Think about it. How many people quit not because they couldn't succeed, but because they hit one bump and thought, this must not be for me. But what if that bump wasn't a dead end? What if it was your next chapter starting? The myth of perfect progress is killing more dreams than failure ever will. And when we expect growth to feel smooth, we panic when it doesn't. We assume we're broken, behind, not enough. But let me tell you this, you are not behind. You're becoming. And what looks like a failure right now might just be your greatest teacher in disguise. The power of failure. Now, here's where things get real. Because failure, it's not the villain. It's the secret weapon. We've all heard the quotes, fail forward, fail fast, yada yada. But let's strip it down to the bones. Failure is the only thing that shows you who you really are and what you're truly capable of. Think about your life, not the wins, the bruises. The time you were rejected and still showed up. The time you launched something and no one noticed, but you learned, you pivoted, you got better. The time you were so afraid to start, but you did it anyway. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a woman I met during a workshop. Let's call her Andrea. She had tried launching a coaching business 5 times. Each time she got a little better, but also a little more scared. Until she flipped the question from, what if I fail again? To, what if failure is actually preparing me to succeed bigger than I can even imagine right now? That shift changed everything. She stopped treating failure like an identity and started using it like a mirror. Each one reflected a lesson. Refine this. Try that. Let that go. Within a year, she had built the business she used to dream about. Not in spite of failure, but because of it. You see, failure strips away the fluff. It forces you to focus, to grow, to get honest. When you're not afraid to fail, you become limitless. So next time you fall flat, don't rush to fix it. Sit with it. Ask it, what are you here to teach me? Because failure isn't the end of the story. It's the moment the real story begins. Developing resilience. Let's talk about resilience. It's that quiet fire inside, the one that doesn't scream or shout. It just burns. Steady, even when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. Resilience doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It means you don't stop when you do. But let's be real. Building resilience isn't glamorous. It's not always found in motivational quotes or morning routines. It's found in the moments when quitting feels easier. But something inside says, no, not yet, not now. That moment after a failure, when you're standing in the wreckage of what didn't work, and instead of pretending it didn't happen or shaming yourself for it, you say, okay, let's learn. That's the moment resilience is born. I remember a time when I launched a project I was so excited about. I put in the hours, the heart, the hustle. And you know what I got? Crickets. No applause. No sales. Just the sound of my own doubts echoing back at me. But instead of hiding, I pulled out a notebook and wrote 3 things. What did I learn? What would I do differently? What part of me still believes this is worth it? And those questions was the start of everything shifting. If you want to build resilience, start reframing failure as feedback. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes. And for the love of your own growth, be kind to yourself. Self-compassion isn't weakness, it's fuel. It gives you the strength to keep building when no one else is watching. And here's the best part. Every time you rise after a fall, you're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. Confidence through growth. Now let's bring this full circle. Because when you've faced failure, when you've built resilience, what you're really creating is confidence. But not that fake it till you make it, puff your chest out kind of confidence. I'm talking about earned confidence. The kind that comes from looking fear in the face and saying, "You don't own me anymore." Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act anyway, again and again, until your actions rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. We'll call him Mateo. He spent years struggling with imposter syndrome. He had big dreams, wanted to lead, to build something impactful, but he kept holding back, afraid he wasn't ready, afraid he'd mess it up, afraid people would see his flaws. But then he made a commitment. He was going to do one thing every week that scared him: public speaking, pitching his ideas, publishing his writing, even when he didn't feel expert enough. And slowly, the fear started to shrink. What grew in its place? Confidence. Not because he became perfect, but because he saw with his own eyes that he could survive discomfort. That growth builds confidence. Want to feel more confident? Don't wait for the feeling. Go create it through small acts of courage, through doing the uncomfortable thing, through proving to yourself over and over again that you're stronger than you thought. Because confidence isn't a switch. It's a series of moments stacked. It's what happens when you stop hiding from failure and start rising through it, embracing the journey. Here's the truth we don't hear enough. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. Your path? It's not supposed to be straight. It's supposed to be winding, weird, messy, magical, and full of moments where you ask yourself, am I really cut out for this? And the answer? If you're still here, still trying, still showing up in the face of all the noise and self-doubt, yes, you are cut out for this. You are in the middle of becoming. You're not lost, you're learning. You're not behind, you're building. Life isn't a checklist. It's a journey. Not a highlight reel, but a documentary in progress. And those moments that feel like detours, they're actually the parts where your character is developing. You've heard the phrase, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, right? Well, let's go deeper. Don't compare your rough draft to anyone's final edit. You're still in the process, still revising, still discovering. And that's not something to be ashamed of. That's sacred. So instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask, what am I learning right here? Because confidence, it doesn't come from knowing every step. It comes from trusting that you'll figure it out, even if you stumble, especially when you stumble. Final takeaway plus call to action. So if there's one thing I want you to walk away with today, it's this. You don't need to wait until you're fearless to move forward. You just need to stop letting fear decide where you stop. Your failures, they're not flaws in your story. They are the story. Your growth? It's happening right now, even when it feels slow, awkward, or invisible. And your confidence? It's not a gift you're born with. It's a muscle you build. One choice, one challenge, one I'm doing it anyway at a time. So here's your challenge this week. Think about one moment in your life you've labeled as a failure. Write down what it taught you. Then do one bold thing, a message, a pitch, a step because of that lesson. And when you do, tag me, share it, own it. Let's normalize growth. Let's celebrate resilience. Let's stop hiding our battle scars and start wearing them as proof we're becoming unstoppable. Because you, my friend, you're not here to play small. You're here to rise. This isn't the end of your story. It's the part where things get good.